Thank you, everybody. Good evening. I just want to talk about the libertarians briefly. Yeah, we are for smaller government. We also believe in maximum liberty. I think that's a word that's often forgotten, is liberty in government. I don't hear a whole lot about it nowadays, and that's why I'm up here in front of you for the United States Congress at age 25. Born in Brooklyn, raised all my life on Staten Island. I went to Wagner College. I used to deliver the Staten Island Advance for about 10 years, but they don't think I'm a real candidate, or they probably would have mentioned me to you guys at some point and invited me to the debate on October 26th. That would be nice. My main issue is the Federal Reserve Bank and monetary policy. I really want to talk about real issues. I don't want to spend 5 minutes talking about myself. If anyone wants to know, I'll be around afterwards. I want to talk about monetary policy, the dollar in your pocket, because that's a central issue to everybody, regardless male or female, regardless of color or any of that. Money is the issue central to everybody, central to every other issue. I think it's disturbing that we don't hear more about the money issue. But let me just segue into that. Has anyone read the book, The Wizard of Oz? The ruby slippers in the book used to be silver slippers. Now, the reason, the whole imagery behind this is the yellow brick road is supposed to signify gold, and the silver slippers were supposed to signify monetary silver. So, back in the turn of the century, about 1900, we used to have the real debate in this country about money. And should we expand the money supply by including silver, also along with the gold standard? That was what that whole book was really written about. And we've forgotten that today. We don't have either silver or gold in this country as our money anymore. 1971, Richard Nixon took us officially off the gold standard, and I think we all know the story of what's happened to the value of the dollar since then. And before that, when we had the Federal Reserve Act of 1914, where an unelected group of private bankers took control of the United States monetary system in the name of perpetuating corporate banking at the highest level. Talking about the Rockefellers and the Morgans and people that like. We still got that system today, and we're in dire straits in this country with our monetary policy. All these nice things that we've heard elected officials talk about tonight that they're working on in government, it's going to be impossible if our dollar is destroyed. Right now in the Wall Street Journal this week, the Federal Reserve Bank is continually talking about quantitative easing. I don't know if anyone is familiar with that term, but it really is just a fancy word for unelected bankers printing money so that they can pay the debts of these large banks that have been pulling these financial shenanigans. Now, the Federal Reserve Act also does not require the bank to submit to any congressional audit. So the people's representatives in Congress are not allowed to get the information of what's happening with the dollar that belongs rightly to these free people in this state. I think that is quintessential to every issue, and I would really appreciate it if others and my opponents would talk about this issue, because this is central. I just want to open up for questions right there. This is the key issue. This monetary policy. We need to end the Federal Reserve Bank, or at least find out what they're going to be doing there. I would absolutely introduce legislation to audit that bank, and that I believe would be the first step to ending the bank, because once the American people see what they've been doing with our dollar, as if we didn't know that prices were rising every time you walk down the street, I think it's going to be absolutely essential, and we're going to see what's actually going on, and we're going to end that bank.
State as our Federal Reserve and our financial status right now, how much is risk of China's ever-changing monetary policy? Now raising interest rates, whether it's something to the market, when does that leave us in the relationship to the world economy?
Basically, she's asking, I think the question is, are we beholden to China, or to what extent, and how does that interplay with the Federal Reserve Bank? And are you asking for a prediction more? Okay. Okay, well right now our current policy is 0% interest rates to other banks. So that is basically, money costs something. When you want to borrow money, that costs something. And we call that usually the time value of money. Like, do you want to spend your money today, or will you agree to spend it 3 years from now if I can use it today and I'll pay you interest? But what the Federal Reserve Bank is doing right now is just, it's open season. It's free money for the largest banks and corporations right now. So if we print more money, we're going to see lowering of the value of the dollar. Now Venezuela and Hugo Chavez, they just slashed the value of their currency by 50%. They just do things like that in dictatorships. But this is America, so it should be different, and yet we're beholden to a Federal Reserve Bank. How, let's bring China into the mix. How did we get so indebted to a foreign government? The easy answer is that we've been just printing money, living beyond our means for far too long, that now basic necessities of life are actually at threat. Because if you want a prediction, my prediction is absolute serious inflation of the dollar. The Federal Reserve is not doing idle talk right now. They will openly devalue the currency. I think that especially our incumbent Congress needs to at least be talking about this. This is very key. I'm glad you brought that up. The incumbent is Mike McMahon. I just want to drop a name there. He doesn't need any more press. Any more questions from the audience? Thank everybody.